So what in the world could be better than a calorie deficit for weight loss? I mean, every weight loss YouTuber in the world says that in order for you to lose weight, you've got to be in a calorie deficit. And this is true, but could there actually be something that's better than being in a calorie deficit for weight loss? I mean, is there something that can actually help you lose weight faster than being in a calorie deficit? Well, today I'm here to tell you that there is something that is better than being in a calorie deficit to weight loss. My not so secret weapon that I've used over the past 34 years to help my clients lose sometimes anywhere from 2 pounds a week to 5 pounds a week. My not so secret weapon to weight loss has been used by fitness competitors and bodybuilders for years to help them get in tip top shape when they're trying to get ready to step on stage. Models, actors, and actresses, everybody from Kim Kardashian to The Rock, have used this strategy to help them get ready for either movie roles or to walk down the runway. So by now, I'm sure you're wondering, what is my not so secret weapon that models and actors have used, that my clients have used, that I've used with my clients over the last 34 years to help them sometimes lose anywhere from 2 to 5 pounds per week? You're wondering, what is that not so secret weapon?
What is it?
And what it's called carb cycling. Now, carb cycling may or may not be new to you, but either way, after watching this video, you're going to know everything you need to know about carb cycling so you can begin to use it immediately as part of your weight loss strategy. So in this video, I'm going to talk about what carb cycling is. I'm going to share with you the two main benefits of carb cycling that you're going to experience that's going to be the main drivers of your weight loss. And I'm also going to share the two not so good things about carb cycling that you're likely to experience. And I'm going to give you a sample day in the life of carb cycling: a low carb day, a moderate carb day, and a high carb day. So what exactly is carb cycling? Well, to put it simple, carb cycling is systematically alternating the amount of carbs you're eating throughout the course of the week to either lose weight or to retain muscle. So to give you an example, here's where I normally start my clients out on a carb cycling diet. I'll give them 4 low carb days, which will consist of anywhere from 20 to 40 grams of carbs. Then I'll give them 2 moderate carb days, which are going to go from anywhere from 40 to 60 grams of carbs. And I'll give them 1 optional high carb day, which is going to go from anywhere from 60 to 90 grams of carbs. So now that you know exactly what carb cycling is, what are some of the benefits of carb cycling? Now, there's many benefits to carb cycling, but I'll be covering 2 in today's video that I think are really important, or the most important, that you're going to experience, that are going to lend themselves to you losing body fat and you losing weight. And the first is that carb cycling is a great way to help you retain muscle while losing fat. The combination of having low carb days and moderate carb days and high carb days work amazing together. Now, the low carb days are going to make your body more thermogenic. And the biggest reason for this is the reduction in the hormone insulin on these low carb days. Now, insulin is our main storage hormone. And when we eat, our bodies produce insulin to allow us to utilize the food that we eat as energy. And this is a good thing.
Oh my God, it's really good. I don't like it.
Because without insulin, it'd be almost impossible for our bodies to utilize the food that we eat as energy. Now, for most of us on a daily basis, we really only need a small amount of energy to fuel our daily activities. And this is where the problem lies. Now, the main 2 places in our body where we can store glycogen, which is the stored form of carbs, is in our muscle and in our liver. And there's studies that show that our muscle can store about 500 grams of carbs and our livers can store about 80 grams. Now, there is a third place where our body can store glycogen when our muscle and our liver is topped off, and that is in our fat cells. And the thing about fat cells is the fat can store almost an unlimited amount of glycogen. Now, from coaching and training clients for over 34 years and analyzing many different diets, what I've found is that most people on a regular basis are eating mostly high carb days, where they're consuming anywhere from 60 to 80% of their daily calories coming from carbs. And depending on how many calories they're eating, this can be anywhere from 175 grams of carbs per day and up. Now, earlier we talked about the hormone insulin and its importance in energy production and energy storage. But the problem with diets that are really high in carbs is it always keeps us in storage mode. And the 2 things that your body can't really do efficiently is burn fat and store fat. We're either doing one or the other, and when insulin is constantly high from consuming a diet that's high in carbs, guess which one we're doing most of the time? Now, if you guess storage, you'd be right. So although insulin is a necessary hormone, and insulin constantly being high by us constantly consuming a lot of carbs, by systematically throwing in a low and a moderate carb day, what this does is allows our insulin levels to come down so that we can start to tap into some of the stored body fat. Now, when our glycogen stores are low, but our bodies still need energy, but they can't pull any more energy from our glycogen storage, what happens next is your body will turn to fat, or the stored fat that we have on our bodies, as energy. So this right here, what I just talked about, is the fat burning part of the process. But what about the muscle retention or muscle gaining part of the process? So one of the first things you'll notice on a lower carb diet is your muscles are going to look smaller. And this is because they have less glycogen stored in them. You see, glycogen pulls water into the muscle, but when glycogen is gone, that leads to a temporary drop in the water level in the muscle. But the key here is temporary, because after a few days of being on a lower carbohydrate diet, your body starts to utilize other things to replace the sugar or the glycogen. So what happens is eventually your water levels within the muscle return to normal. Now, one of the things that I tell all my clients to do on their lower carbohydrate days is to increase the amount of protein they eat. Now, this is going to do a few things. It's going to first help them to build and maintain their muscle mass on these lower carbohydrate days. But two, it's also going to help them to continue to burn fat on those days. So there's something called muscle protein synthesis, and this is essentially what's responsible for you being able to build muscle and retain muscle. And this is made more powerful on lower carbohydrate days. So normally, what I'll tell my clients to do is on their low carbohydrate days to increase their protein anywhere from 0.5 gram to 1 gram per pound of body weight. Now, you might have heard of the keto diet before. And the keto diet is just another form of a low carbohydrate diet. And when you go on keto and you've been on keto long enough, your body will start to produce what's called ketones. And ketones are what's produced when your body starts to use fat for energy. Now, another great benefit of ketones is not only are they a great energy source, but they also help to prevent the breakdown of muscle tissue on a lower carbohydrate diet. And with the decrease in muscle protein breakdown from the ketones, and with the increase in muscle protein buildup from the extra protein, this is the perfect recipe for muscle growth and muscle retention. Matter of fact, a study at the University of Connecticut found that men on a low carbohydrate, high protein diet were able to build and maintain muscle without exercising. So just imagine you put it all together: low carb, high protein, and the right exercise program. This is the perfect situation to help you build muscle, retain muscle, while losing weight and burning fat. And the second big benefit of carb cycling is it gives your body enough nutrients without slowing down your metabolism. So you've probably heard of the term skinny fat before, and we all know that one guy that looks skinny, but when he takes off his shirt, he has very little muscle definition and he kind of has this chubbiness to him. That is the definition of skinny fat. Now, this generally happens when people go on these really low calorie diets, like these 500 to 700 calorie a day diets. Now, initially, people lose weight really fast on these diets, and it can be anywhere from 5 pounds to 10 pounds or more within the first week. But our bodies are really smart, and when we've been on these very restrictive diets for a really long time, the body goes into what I like to call preservation mode, or what you probably heard before called the starvation mode. Now, during this time of preservation, what happens is your body down-regulates your metabolism. So what ends up happening is the amount of calories that you burn goes way down, while the amount of fat that you store goes way up. So your body stops burning fat and it starts storing fat instead. Now, carb cycling helps to avoid this preservation mode because of the extra protein and fat that you're going to be eating on your lower carb days, because your body can use the extra protein and fat as an energy source. Now, this is going to help to keep your metabolism high, but at the same time, because protein and fat doesn't have the same effect on insulin, it'll also keep you burning fat and losing weight. Hey, if you've made it to this point in the video and you don't know who I am, my name is Coach William. And over the last 34 years, I've helped people just like yourself and just like the ones back here on the wall in my office to get into amazing shape using tips just like the ones I'm sharing in this video. So if you need help on your journey, no hard sell, but click the first link below in the description and let's work together to figure out what we need to do to get you from where you're at to where you want to be. All right, so now that you know the two main benefits of carb cycling, let's talk about the two not so good things about carb cycling that you're likely to experience. Number one is that on your low carb days, you probably won't be the nicest person to be around. Now, I've had people tell me that they can tell when I'm on a low carb day because I'm just not the nicest person to be around. And I want to point this out because it's likely that you're going to experience it and that the people around you are going to experience. So I just want to prepare you for what's likely to happen. Now, some people will experience things like irritability or even brain fog when they first start to decrease their carbs because carbs are the main source of energy for our brains. Now, some people even experience something called carb withdrawal. And if you've ever given up something like coffee, you know exactly what this feels like. It can be headaches, it can be jitteriness, it can even be difficulty sleeping. Now, one of the things I'll do to help my clients avoid this is never give them too many low carb days back to back. Like normally, I'll never give my clients more than 2 or 3 low carb days back to back without throwing in a moderate or a high carb day. Now, the good news is for most people, the change in mood is temporary. And after being on low carb for a few weeks, normally this stabilizes and your mood returns to normal. And the second not so good thing about low carb is that your training is probably going to suck on your low carb days. Now, if you're expecting to have amazingly great high energy workouts on your low carb days, I hate to break it to you, but your workouts on your low carb days are probably going to suck. Carbs are our main source of energy. So if you're doing any form of activity that's more intense than a brisk walk, like weightlifting or running or cycling, you probably are going to notice a dip in your energy. You're likely to notice that your time to exhaustion will be much sooner, and you're also likely to notice things like dizziness or lightheadedness. So one of the ways I'll oftentimes help my clients to either avoid this or at least lessen it is to make sure that they center the carbs that they're going to have for the day around the times of their workout. So let's say I have a client on a low carb day and their allotted carbs for that day is 50 grams. What I'll do is I'll have them take 30 of those grams and have them put the 1 to 2 hours before their workout to help them provide energy for that workout. And then I'll have them take the remaining carbs and have after their workout to help replenish and restore after the workout. So now that you know what carb cycling is, you know a few of the good and a few of the bad about carb cycling, let's talk about what a sample of a carb cycling day would look like. So we're going to talk about a low carb day, a moderate carb day, and a high carb day. So here's an example of a low carb day giving you 20 to 40 grams of carbs for the day. So for breakfast, we're going to have 1 slice of whole wheat toast, which is going to give us 12 grams of carbs. Then we're going to add a half of an avocado, which is going to give us an additional 6 grams of carbs for a total of 18 grams of carbs for breakfast. Then for lunch, we're going to have 5 ounces of grilled chicken. We're going to add 2 cups of zucchini, which is going to give us 4 grams of carbs. And we're going to add another half of an avocado, which is going to give us another 6 grams of carbs for a total of 10 grams of carbs for lunch. Then for our snack, our afternoon snack, we're going to have 1 serving of a plant-based protein, which is going to give us a total of 9 grams of carbs. Now for dinner, we're going to have 2 beef burgers, no bun. We're going to have 1 slice of cheddar cheese, which is going to give us 0.4 grams of carbs. And then we're going to have a half a cup of broccoli, which is going to give us 3 grams of carbs for a total of 3.4 grams of carbs for dinner for our daily total of 40.4 grams of carbs. Now here's an example of a moderate carb day, which is 40 to 60 grams of carbs. So for breakfast, we're going to have 2 scrambled eggs, which is going to give us 1 gram of carbs. Then we're going to have a cup of cottage cheese, which is going to give us 8 grams of carbs. And then we're going to add a half a cup of grapes, which is going to give us 14 grams of carbs for a total of 23 grams of carbs for breakfast. Then for lunch, we're going to have a turkey avocado lettuce wrap, which is going to give us 6 grams of carbs. With that, we're going to have 1 cup of strawberries, which is going to give us 12 grams of carbs for a total of 18 grams of carbs for lunch. Then for our afternoon snack, we're going to have 1 serving of a low carb protein shake with, again, just water and protein, which is going to give us 9 grams of protein for our afternoon snack. Now for dinner, we're going to have a Philly cheese steak lettuce wrap, which is going to give us 7 grams of carbs. And we're going to add 1 tablespoon of peanut butter with that, which is going to give us 3 grams of carbs for a total of 10 grams of carbs. for our daily total of 60 grams of carbs. And here's an example of a high carb day giving us 60 to 90 grams of carbs. So for breakfast, we're going to have 4 hard-boiled eggs, which is going to give us 1 gram of carbs. Then for lunch, we're going to have a ham and cheese sandwich on whole wheat bread, which is going to give us 26 grams of carbs for a total of 26 grams of carbs for lunch. Then for our afternoon snack, we're going to have 8 crackers, any type of crackers, but this is going to give you roughly about 18 grams of carbs for a total of 18 grams of carbs for our afternoon snack. And then for dinner, we're going to have 6 ounces of cod, which is going to give us 3 grams of carbs. We're going to have 1 baked potato, which is going to give us 37 grams of carbs. And we're going to have a half a cup of sour cream, which is going to give us 3.5 grams of carbs for a total of 42 grams of carbs for dinner for a daily total of 87 grams of carbs. So let me ask you a question. Have I convinced you to give carb cycling a try? If so, but you're confused and you don't know where to start, click the first link below in the description, fill out the form, and let's work together to get your carb cycling journey started immediately.